We're joined now by Ozden Zeynep Oktav, a professor of international relations at Istanbul Medeniyet University. Thank you so much for coming in. We were listening to President Erdogan speak a little bit earlier, praising these airstrikes. This is a good move in his view, isn't it?
Yeah, since the onset of Syrian civil war, Turkey always called for taking an action against Bashar Assad regime because Turkey was really very much unhappy with the inhumane applications of Assad regime in some certain parts of Syria. All the happenings in east of Ghouta proved very openly Assad regime and Russia, including Russia in my opinion, conducting a very inhumane war. Turkey, although going through a very interesting process, Astana process, they are cooperating with each other in some certain areas. But despite all these cooperative relations, Turkey warned the international society against this inhumane war conducted by Assad regime. And it is very good news that the United States and international society took an action against this war, inhumane
You mentioned
policies.
the Astana process. How do you think these airstrikes by the US, the UK, and France will affect that trio of Turkey, Iran, and Russia, especially with Turkey taking a stand and supporting these airstrikes against Russia's support of the regime as well?
This is a very good question, a very open question, but in my opinion, Turkey is following two parallel policies. The basic reason why Turkey cooperated with Russia and Iran was aiming to create the escalating zone, if you remember, so that we could have stabilized territories especially in northern Syria, and to be able to prevent the flood of refugees to Turkish border. But the conflict or the escalation zone was including east of Ghouta. But as you see, Assad regime never stopped attacking east of Ghouta, although it was a de-escalation zone. Therefore, Turkey is very reactionary against this. And this is a big threat and direct threat to Turkey, as it will provoke a new wave of refugee flood to Turkish border. But on the other hand, there is another parallel policy followed by Ankara. It is to cooperate with the regional powers, Russia and Iran. Turkey wants to stabilize the Syrian territories with the regional powers, especially with Iran, because Iran and Turkey are the two countries who are most damaged by this war lasting for almost 8 years. So, as far as I see, United States and its allies are very determined to clear the region from Iran after these military airstrikes. But I'm not that much sure to what extent all these military airstrikes will be effective in restoring peace and in warning Russia, in clearing the region from Iran, because as far as I understand, these military strikes, just like the last year's strike, will be minimal, symbolic, and very short-term effect. These military strikes will have very minimal and symbolic effect, in my opinion. Therefore, I don't think that Iran will be cleaned from the region in the short run.
We also heard President Erdogan talking about the fact that, you know, chemical weapons might be deterred by these airstrikes in the future, but conventional weapons are still
existing, as you say. And Iran is constructing a military infrastructure in the region. And very important, Iran is getting armored or militarily getting more powerful in the region. And Israel is the regional country, feeling most threatened by this Iranian military power in Syria. And Bashar Assad regime also defense air system is very much strengthened by Russia and the export of Russian military technology to Assad regime air defense system also got very powerful. All these are direct threat to Israel first, and therefore I'm just explaining these military strikes of UK, France and United States is to some extent to defend the interests of Israel in the region. And as you mentioned, conventional weapons still existing in the region. And United States also sent a lot of thousands of trucks of weapons to the region. And Turkey is very much exposed to a big threat in the future as well.
We'll have to leave it there, but Professor, thank you so much for joining us here in the studio.
Thank you very much.